Her 911 call echoed. As Diane Miller, HOA Karen, screamed I'd threatened her life, all to steal my Texas lake for her scam. But I'm Caleb, guarding my wife's dream, with proof I own it all, and cameras exposing her lies in the dust. Before we dive in, hit that like button to support Gossip Karen. Thanks for being awesome. It was a warm Texas morning in late June when I drove my old Ford pickup into the dusty roads of Red Willow Ranch. The sun was just rising, casting golden light over the sprawling 5-acre property I'd called home for the past 2 years. My golden retriever, Rusty, sat in the passenger seat, his tongue lolling, ears perked, as we passed the shimmering 3-acre lake. That was the heart of this place. This was my sanctuary, my promise kept to my late wife, Hannah. Caleb, when we retire, let's find a ranch with a big old fishing lake, Hannah used to say, her eyes bright as she flipped through Texas travel guides. Her laugh, it still echoed in my head, even 3 years after a drunk driver stole her from me. In a heartbeat, I couldn't stay in our old Houston home, where every corner and screamed her name. So I sold it all, every last piece, and bought this ranch outside Abilene. It was the exact spot from a magazine clipping Hannah had taped to our fridge. Her dream, now mine, to protect. 15 years as a real estate lawyer. It had taught me every trick in the book. Boundary disputes, shady developers. I forged deeds. I'd seen it all. But here, at Red Willow, I wanted nothing but peace. Rusty was my partner now, a gift from Hannah. Just weeks before the accident, we'd sit by the lake every evening. And me with a fishing rod, him chasing dragonflies, the water rippling under the willows. It was perfect until Diane Miller moved in. She arrived 6 months ago to the lot next door, a 48-year-old woman with a sharp bob haircut and a smile that didn't reach her eyes. From day one, she declared herself president of the Red Willow Homeowners Association, which was a joke, since our little community had barely 15 households scattered across the Texas plains. Diane knocked on doors, clutching a binder thicker than a Bible, full of rules nobody had asked for. Community standards, she called them, pushing for economic growth and modernization. Most folks nodded politely, but behind her back, they called her that Dallas lady, with eye rolls. Caleb, she'd chirp, catching me at the feed store, her voice too bright. Your lake. It's got potential. Ever thought of developing it? I'd shake my head. Keep it short. Not interested. Diane, it's private. Her smile would tighten, but she'd keep pushing, dropping hints about investors and resorts. I brushed it off, thinking she was just nosy. I didn't know then how desperate she was, or how dangerous. See, Diane wasn't just annoying. She was running from a past darker than a West Texas storm. Back in Dallas, she'd been Diane Carter, a real estate broker who'd crashed and burned after forging contracts and pocketing deposits for fake listings. She owed banks $250,000, and some loan sharks weren't far behind. 3 months, or you're done. I'd later hear her whisper on a late-night call. She'd changed her name, dyed her hair, and fled to our quiet ranch country, thinking she could start over. But debts don't vanish, and Diane had a plan to make my lake with her ticket out. Monday morning, everything changed. I woke at 6 o'clock, brewed coffee, fed Rusty, and headed out for our usual walk by the lake. My phone buzzed once, then twice, then nonstop. Unknown numbers flooding my screen. Texts poured in. Caleb, is your lake for sale? Ah, will you take 80K cash? Flying in from Austin to see the property? My hand shook as I opened my laptop. There it was, splashed across real estate sites and social media marketplaces. Prime Texas Lake. 3 acres. Perfect for resort development. $75,000. Contact Diane Miller. Authorized agent. The listings had photos of my lake, drone shots, showing every angle of my private sanctuary, mock-ups of cabins, a spa, even a golf course, labeled Miller Lake Retreat. My blood boiled. Rusty whined, sensing my anger. As I scrolled through Diane's lies, she was selling my property, Hannah's dream, like it was hers. I grabbed my keys, Rusty at my heels, and stormed the half-mile to Diane's place. She was outside, watering her cactus garden, in that fake smile, like nothing was wrong. "Morning, Caleb," she called, her voice syrupy. "Beautiful day, isn't it? Are you out of your mind?" I shouted, holding up my phone. "You're selling my lake. Online. That's my property." Diane's smile didn't budge, but her eyes turned cold. "Caleb, don't be dramatic. That lake's sitting there, unused. I'm helping this community and see its value. Think of the jobs, the tourism. It's mine." I snapped, stepping closer. "My private land, my deed, my taxes paid. Every year, you've got no right." Diane laughed. A sharp, ugly sound. "Rights? Oh, Caleb, I've checked the county records. Property lines. Out here, they're messy. My friends at the assessor's office say your claims shaky at best." A lie. I knew it. My deed was rock solid, filed, and notarized. But her confidence made me pause. Then I saw her hand slip behind her back, tapping her phone. "Don't you threaten me?" she suddenly yelled, her face twisting into fake fear. "Help! He's going to hurt me." She stumbled back, knocking over a pot, her voice rising. "He said he'd drown me. In that lake?" I froze, stunned. Rusty growled, low and deep. Before I could speak, Diane was on her phone, screaming to 911. "He's threatening me. Caleb, he's violent. Send help. Now." Sirens wailed. Within minutes, 2 police cruisers screeched into her driveway. 3 officers, hands on their holsters, stepped out. Diane ran to them. Mascara streaked, playing the victim. "Thank God, you're here. He threatened to kill me." The lead officer, a grizzled man named Sergeant Holt, approached me. "Sir, step back, and hands where I can see them." "She's lying," I said, keeping my voice steady, hands raised. "She's selling my lake, online, without permission. Check my phone. I've got screenshots." Holt's eyes narrowed, but he stayed calm. "Sir, calm down. We'll take statements." "Ma'am, what happened?" Diane spun a wild story, claiming I'd harassed her for weeks and now threatened violence. I showed the officers the listings, the fake brochures, the drone photos. They looked skeptical, but listened. Then Old Man Tucker, my neighbor, hobbled over, his cane tapping. "Got cameras on my fence line," he said gruffly. "Caught the whole thing." The officers reviewed Tucker's footage. Clear as day. It showed me standing still, arguing, but never touching Diane. She'd thrown herself back, faked the fall, all while yelling for the camera. Holt's face hardened. "Ma'am, false reports are a crime. You sure about your story?" Diane's tears vanished, her face pale. "That footage, it's edited. He's framing me." Holt sighed, rubbing his temple. "Both of you, stay away from each other. Ma'am, no more 911 calls, unless it's real. Sir, don't go to her property. Clear?" I nodded, but Diane smirked, like she'd won. Rusty and I walked home, my mind racing. She wasn't stopping. That lake, Hannah's lake, was her obsession. She needed money, bad, and she'd do anything to get it. That night, I pulled out my old legal files. 15 years of property law had taught me one thing. Every parcel has a story. I started digging through county records, surveys, tax rolls. Diane thought she could outsmart me, but she didn't know I'd built my career on finding loopholes and buried secrets. By midnight, my coffee was cold, but my eyes were sharp. A 1,962 survey map showed something odd. A thin strip of land, unclaimed, between Diane's lot and my lake. A forgotten easement, unmarked, untouched, for decades. My heart raced. This was it, the key to stopping her. Diane thought she'd backed me into a corner, but I was about to turn her whole game upside down. The Texas sun beat down hard as I sat at my kitchen table, surrounded by yellowed survey maps and county records. Rusty lay at my feet, his golden fur warm against my boots, whining softly like he knew I was onto something big. Diane Miller's fake lake listings were still online, racking up views and investor calls. That 911 stunt, her crocodile tears, had been a warning shot. She wasn't just annoying, she was dangerous and desperate. But that easement, that forgotten strip of land I'd found last night, that was my ace, and I wasn't letting it go. 15 years as a real estate lawyer had taught me how to read the fine print of property law. Every parcel, every deed has a story, buried in dusty files or old surveyor's notes. The 1,962 map I'd pulled from the county archive showed a narrow strip, unclaimed, between Diane's lot and my lake. It was tiny, maybe 50 square yards, marked Easement X, with a scribbled note. Ownership unclear, no taxes paid, no owner listed. Since 1975. A ghost plot, forgotten by time, but not by me. I leaned back, sipping cold coffee, my mind racing. Diane thought she could sell my lake, Hannah's lake, to line her pockets. She didn't know I owned the whole damn thing, and this easement was the key to locking her out. But I had to move fast. Diane wasn't stupid, just reckless. If she sniffed out my plan, she'd fight dirty. By noon, my phone was buzzing again. More texts from strangers. Caleb, 85K for the lake? Can I tour tomorrow? Diane's listings were spreading like wildfire. I opened my laptop and saw her latest post. A glossy website. Miller Lake Retreat with drone videos of my lake and fake blueprints for cabins and a spa. The gall of this woman. She'd even quoted me as a cooperative seller who'd relocate soon. Rusty growled as I slammed the laptop shut. I grabbed my keys. Come on, boy, I told Rusty. We drove to Diane's lot, keeping my distance. Per the cop's warning, she was out front, leading a tour group. 6 city types, in fancy boots and sunglasses. Diane gestured wildly, pointing at my lake, her voice carrying across the field. Prime investment, folks. This lake will anchor a luxury eco-resort. The group nodded, snapping photos, their checkbooks practically glowing. I clenched the steering wheel, my knuckles white. Rusty sensed it, nudging my arm. Easy, boy, I muttered. Diane was selling a lie, and these fools were buying it. But I wasn't here to confront her. Not yet. I needed proof of that easement before she caught wind. Back home, I called the county clerk's office. Mabel, the clerk who'd helped me when I bought the ranch, answered. Caleb, how's that lake? Her voice was warm, but I cut to the chase. Mabel, I need info on an old easement from 1962. Plot marked X. No owner listed. I heard her typing, then a low whistle. Easement X? Been forgotten. Since my daddy's time. No taxes paid. No claimant. Since 75. County could auction it for back taxes. Maybe $400. Auction? I asked, my pulse quickening. How soon? We'd post notice. Today, Mabel said. Auction in 3 days, but Caleb, who'd want? A strip of dirt? In the middle of nowhere? I smiled. For the first time, all day. You'd be surprised. Mabel, get that notice up. That evening, old man Tucker stopped by, his cane tapping. On my porch, heard about Diane's stunt, he said, his voice gruff. She's got the whole county buzzing with her resort nonsense. My cousin saw her website. Says you're selling your lake for pennies. It's a lie, I said, showing him the listings. She's a fraud. Tucker, I'm fighting back. He nodded, his eyes sharp. 40 years. I've lived here, never seen a snake like her. You need help. Caleb, you holler. Hannah, she'd be proud of you. The mention of Hannah hit like a punch. I swallowed hard, nodding. Thanks, Tucker. I'm working on it. That night, I dug deeper into the records. Easement X wasn't just a strip of dirt. It was the only legal path from Diane's lot to my lake. Without it, she'd have to cross protected wetlands or my land to get access. Her whole scam hinged on that path, and I was about to cut it off. But Diane, she was escalating. The next morning, I woke to a crowd outside my fence. 10 investors in SUVs, led by Diane in a navy suit, waving brochures. This lake will be the jewel of West Texas, she crowed, pointing at my water. Rusty barked, his hackles up, as they snapped photos. Over my fence, I stayed calm, watching from the porch. Diane was bold, but sloppy. Her website had a contact form linked to her real name, Diane Carter. A quick search confirmed my suspicions. Dallas News articles from 2020. Broker Diane Carter, charged with fraud, skips bail. She'd conned folks out of millions, then fled. Red Willow was her fresh start, and my lake, her new target. I called my old law buddy, Hank Grayson, in Abilene. Hank, got a situation. Neighbors selling my lake. Illegally. Found an easement that could stop her. Need a play. Hank laughed, his drawl thick. Caleb, you old dog. Send me the docs if this gal's who I think she is. She's got a rap sheet longer than the Rio Grande. I emailed him the survey maps and screenshots of Diane's listings. Hank called back. An hour later. Easement X is gold. County's auctioning it. Day after tomorrow. Buy it. Caleb, it's the choke point to your lake. Without it, her scam's dead. But there's more, Hank added, his voice low. Diane Carter, she's wanted in 2 states. Fraud, forgery, you name it. I'm digging deeper, but watch her back. She's desperate, and desperate folks do ugly things. I hung up, my mind spinning. Rusty nudged my hand, his eyes worried. I scratched his ears. We got this. Boy, Diane's about to learn. Texas ain't her playground. By dusk, I had a plan. The auction was my shot to lock Diane out, but I needed help to make it stick. I called Ellie Ruiz, a retired realtor, who owed me a favor from a case years back. Ellie, need you to play a part. Pretend you're a buyer. At the county auction, drive up the bids on easement X. Make Diane sweat. Ellie cackled. Caleb, you're evil. I'm in. What's my angle? Big shot developer. I said, act like you want that strip for a mega project. I'll handle the rest. As I hung up, I looked at the lake, glowing under the Texas stars. Hannah's dream was still mine to protect. Diane thought she'd outsmarted me, but she didn't know I was playing chess while she was playing checkers. The Texas heat shimmered over Red Willow Ranch. As I pored over county records in my dimly lit office, Rusty sprawled on the floor, his golden fur catching the fan's lazy breeze, his eyes tracking me, like he knew we were in a fight. Diane Miller's fake lake listings were still live. Her Miller Lake Retreat website, now boasting a virtual tour of my private lake, Hannah's Lake. That 911 call, her fake tears, were just the start. She was desperate, and desperation made her bold. But that easement X, that forgotten strip, was my weapon, and the auction was 2 days away. I'd spent years as a real estate lawyer, untangling messes like this. Deeds, easements, tax rolls, they all told stories. If you knew where to look. The 1,962 survey map showed easement X, a 50-square-yard strip between Diane's lot and my lake. Unclaimed since 1975. No taxes paid, no owner listed. It was the only legal path to my water. Without it, Diane's scam was dead. But I had to win it at the county auction and keep her from sniffing it out. My phone buzzed with another investor text. Caleb, $90K cash for the lake? I ignored it, my jaw tight. Diane's lies were spreading fast. I checked her website and saw new posts. Investor preview event this weekend. She was hosting tours on her lot, showing off my lake like she owned it. Photos showed her in a power suit, shaking hands with city slickers, their SUVs parked by my fence. Rusty growled as I scrolled, and I patted his head. She's got nerve, boy. I'll give her that. Old man Tucker dropped by at dusk, his cane tapping on my porch. Diane's at it again, he said, his voice low. Saw her today with a dozen investors. She's telling them, you're selling by next week. Even showed them fake permits for cabins. Permits? I raised an eyebrow, my blood simmering. She's forging documents now? Tucker nodded, his eyes hard. 40 years here, Caleb, never seen a liar like her. My nephew, at the courthouse, says she's been poking around, asking about easements. You sure she don't know about your plan? My stomach twisted. Diane was slippery, but I'd been careful. She doesn't know yet, I said, but I'm watching her. Auction's Friday. That's my shot. Tucker clapped my shoulder. Hannah'd be proud. Son, keep fighting. His words stung. Hannah's name always did. I nodded, and he left, leaving me with my maps and my dog. That night, I called Hank Thompson, my lawyer friend, for an update. Caleb, Diane's past is uglier than I thought, he said, his drawl heavy. She's Diane Carter, all right? Skipped bail. In Louisiana, 2019. Fraud, embezzlement, conned retirees, out of pensions. Nevada's got a warrant, too. She's a ghost, moving state to state, changing names. Desperate and dangerous, I muttered. What about the auction? Easement X is set for Friday, Hank said. Back taxes, $400. County posted notice today, but Diane's been At the courthouse. If she figures out that strip's the key, she'll bid hard. I hung up, my mind racing. Diane wasn't just a nuisance. She was a predator, and my lake was her prey. I needed to outsmart her, and fast. Ellie Ruiz, my old realtor friend, called to confirm. "I'm ready." "Caleb," she said, her voice gleeful. "Big shot developer, right? I'll show up at the auction, drive up the bids, make Diane panic." "Perfect," I said. "Just don't win it. Ellie, that strip's mine." She laughed. "Trust me, I'm an actor, not a buyer. Diane won't know what hit her." The next morning, I woke to chaos, a convoy of cars parked by my fence, investors snapping photos of my lake. Diane led them, her voice carrying like a megaphone. "This is the future of Texas luxury," she shouted, waving brochures. Rusty barked, his tail stiff, as they trespassed closer to my land. I stayed inside, watching, my fists clenched. She was bold, too bold. By noon, word of the auction had spread. Mabel, the county clerk, called. "Caleb, you stirred up a hornet's nest." Diane was here, asking about easement X. Didn't say why, but she's got that look. "You sure you want this fight?" "I'm sure," I said, my voice steady. She started it. "Mabel, I'm finishing it." That afternoon, I caught Diane outside her lot, filming a video for her website. "Red Willow's future is bright," she crowed, pointing at my lake. "Invest now, before it's gone." Her confidence that made my skin crawl. She knew about the auction. I was sure of it. But did she know why easement X was the key? I spent the evening prepping with Ellie. We rehearsed her role, big money developer, eager to snatch the easement for a fake project. "I'll bid high," she said. "Make Diane think she's losing her whole scam. You just stay cool and grab that strip." "Deal," I said, but my gut churned. Diane's past, her warrants, her desperation, it all pointed to trouble. Rusty nudged my leg, his eyes worried, like he felt it too. I scratched his ears, whispering, "We're protecting Hannah's dream, boy, no matter what." Thursday night, I couldn't sleep. I crept to my office, the lake glowing under the Texas moon. I opened my laptop and dug deeper into Diane's past. A 2018 article from Shreveport caught my eye. Broker Diane Carter, accused of forgery, flees trial. She'd conned a widow out of her farm, faked deeds, and vanished. The pattern was clear. Red Willow was just her latest mark. Then, a noise. Rusty growled, low and deep. His ears pricked. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped outside. A shadow moved, near my fence, by the lake. "Who's there?" I called, my voice sharp. No answer, but I heard footsteps, crunching gravel, fading fast. Rusty barked, straining against my grip. I scanned the dark, but found nothing. Just a chill down my spine. Back inside, I checked my security cameras. Grainy footage showed a figure in a hoodie near the lake path. Too dark to ID. Diane? Or someone she'd hired? My heart raced. She was escalating, and the auction was tomorrow. Morning came, gray and tense. I fed Rusty, my hand steady, but my mind spinning. Diane knew about easement X. I could feel it. She'd fight, tooth and nail, to keep her scam alive. But I had Ellie, Hank, and 15 years of legal know-how. This wasn't that her game anymore. It was mine. The Texas sky hung gray and heavy over the Abilene courthouse As I pulled into the parking lot, Rusty stayed home, safe with old man Tucker, his tail wagging, but his eyes worried. The county auction for easement X, that 50-square-yard strip between Diane Miller's lot and my lake, was starting in an hour. My heart pounded, but my hands were steady. 15 years, as a real estate lawyer, had taught me how to play dirty without getting caught. Diane thought she'd steal my lake, Hannah's lake, with her scam. Today, I'd shut her down. Inside the courthouse, the meeting room was small and stuffy. A handful of locals sat on folding chairs, whispering about land deals. Mabel, the county clerk, stood at the front, shuffling papers. Ellie Ruiz, my old realtor friend, slipped in, dressed as a big-shot developer. Her suit crisp, her sunglasses perched, like she owned Dallas. She winked at me, her voice low, ready to make Diane sweat. "Caleb?" I nodded, my jaw tight. "Bid high. Ellie, make her panic, but let me win." She grinned, adjusting her fake Rolex. "I'm in character, partner. This'll be fun." Diane strutted in. Moments later, her navy power suit, screaming confidence. She carried a briefcase, her eyes scanning the room, locking on me with a smirk. She knew about easement X. I could tell, but did she know why it mattered? That strip was the only legal path to my lake. Without it, her Miller Lake retreat was just a dream for gullible investors. Mabel cleared her throat, banging a gavel. Lot X, 50 square yards, unclaimed easement. Back taxes $400. Bidding starts at $500. I raised my hand, calm and steady. 500. Diane countered. Instantly. 600. Ellie jumped in, her voice loud, the dramatic. 2,000. Heads turned, whispers rippling. Diane's smirk faltered, her eyes narrowing at Ellie. 2,500. Diane said, her voice sharp. 5,000. Ellie shot back, waving a fake phone, like she was checking with investors. "This plot's perfect for my eco project." Diane's face flushed, her fingers gripping her briefcase. 7,000. The room buzzed, locals gaping. Mabel's eyes widened, but she kept going. 7,000, going once. 10,000. Ellie barked, standing up, her sunglasses glinting. Diane's composure cracked, her eyes darting to her maps. She leaned over, whispering to herself, then stood tall. 15,000, Diane shouted, her voice shrill. The crowd gasped, a few chuckling at the absurdity. 15 grand for a strip of dirt? Ellie paused, making a show of texting someone. She sighed, shaking her head. "Too rich for my clients. I'm out." I waited, counting seconds, then shrugged. "I'm out too, Miss Miller. Congrats." Diane's face lit up, triumph flashing in her eyes. She thought she'd won. The gavel banged. "Sold to Diane Miller for 15,000, Mabel announced, looking stunned. Ellie slipped me a grin as Diane signed the papers, her hand shaking with excitement. She'd just spent a fortune on a useless strip that led nowhere. Because I'd already filed. And, why? For easement Y, the matching strip on the lake's other side. I'd bought it that morning for $600 in a quiet sale. No auction needed. Diane's plot was a dead end without mine. Outside, Ellie clapped my back, laughing. Her face, when she bid 15 grand, priceless? I smirked, but my gut churned. She's not done. Ellie, she's desperate, and desperate folks don't quit. Back home, I checked my security cameras. The footage from last night showed that hooded figure near the lake path. Again, no clear face, but the height, the walk. It screamed Diane. Rusty growled, watching the screen, and his hackles up. Easy, boy, I said, but my own nerves were fraying. Diane was up to something, and I needed to be ready. The next morning, I hired Jake Dawson's crew, the best fence builders in West Texas. By 5 hours a.m., trucks rolled in, loaded with steel posts, chain link, and concrete. Jake, a burly guy with a handlebar mustache, reviewed my plans by flashlight. 8-foot fence, electronic gate, cameras, solar power. He rattled off. You expecting trouble, Caleb? Something like that, I said. My neighbors got sticky fingers. Need this done by dawn. Jake grinned, nodding. Anti-Karen fences are my specialty. We'll lock it down before her coffee's brewed. The crew worked fast, like a well-oiled machine. Post holes dug, concrete poured, steel posts set. Rusty watched, tail wagging, like he approved. By 6:30, the fence line was rising across easement Y, blocking the only path to my lake. Diane's plot, her $15,000 mistake, was now useless. A road to nowhere. Just before 7, Diane's bedroom light flicked on. Her back door flew open, and she stormed out in a silk robe, her face twisted. What in God's name is this noise? She screeched, spotting the fence. Caleb, stop this right now. I stepped forward, Rusty at my side, my voice calm. Morning, Diane. Just securing my property. Early bird gets the worm, right? Her eyes locked on the fence, and I saw it. The moment she realized her $15,000 plot was cut off. This is harassment, she yelled, her voice hitting a new pitch. You can't block my lake access. Your access? I raised an eyebrow, pulling out my deed for easement Y. This is my land, Diane. Your plot X goes nowhere without this. Check your title. Next time. Diane's face cycled through colors. Red, purple, white. She rushed the fence, rattling it like a caged animal. I'll sue you. I'll call the cops. Again. Go ahead, I said, holding up my permits. All legal. Diane, unlike your fake lake sales. The crew finished by 7 hours, 45, the fence gleaming under the Texas sun, 8 feet tall, topped with wire, cameras blinking, signs reading, private property, no trespassing. Jake shook my hand. Solid as Fort Knox. Caleb, she'd need a tank to get through. I nodded, but my eyes stayed on Diane's house. She was on her phone, pacing her yard, her voice low, but furious. She wasn't done. I knew it. That night, I checked the cameras again. Another shadow by the lake, moving fast. Diane, or someone she'd hired? My grip tightened on Rusty's leash. Hank called, his voice grim. Caleb, Diane's past just got uglier. Found a report from Nevada, 2021. She poisoned a neighbor's dog to force a sale. Watch Rusty close. My blood ran cold. Rusty nudged my leg, his eyes soft. I locked the doors and set the alarms. Diane was cornered, and cornered snakes strike hard. The Texas dawn broke soft and pink over Red Willow Ranch, but my nerves were tighter than a barbed wire fence. Rusty lay by my side, his golden fur warm, but his eyes uneasy, like he sensed the storm coming. Diane Miller's scam to sell my lake. Hannah's lake had crumbled when I bought easement Y, and fenced her out. Her $15,000 plot was worthless, a dirt strip to nowhere. But Diane wasn't done. Her shadow by the lake, the Nevada dog poisoning, Hank's warning, it all screamed danger. I wasn't just fighting and for my land anymore. I was fighting for Rusty and Hannah's dream. The morning after, the fence went up. Diane struck back. I woke to my phone exploding with notifications. Social media posts tagged me in a vicious smear campaign. Violent rancher threatens single woman, screamed one headline. Diane, as Diane Carter, had posted doctored photos of me looking menacing near the fence. Fake texts claiming I'd threatened to poison her well. She painted me as a madman hoarding the lake out of spite. Comments poured in from strangers. Lock him up. Check his wife's death. My stomach churned. Rusty whined, pressing against me. I called Hank Thompson, my lawyer friend, my voice low. Diane's gone nuclear. Hank, she's lying on every platform about me. Rusty, to the lake. Hank's drawl was grim. She's desperate. Caleb, her investors, are demanding refunds for her fake resort. She's got warrants in 3 states: Louisiana, Nevada, Arkansas. I'm building a case, but watch your dog close. I hung up, my eyes on Rusty. That Nevada report, Diane poisoning a dog to force a sale, haunted me. I checked my cameras. Again, last night's footage showed that hooded figure near the lake path, dropping something by Rusty's water bowl. I zoomed in, heart racing, an oily sheen on the water. Antifreeze. Sweet, but deadly. I dumped the bowl, rushed Rusty to the vet. Dr. Lopez confirmed it. He didn't drink it. Caleb, he's safe, but that was close. Rage burned hot in my chest. Diane had tried to kill Rusty. My last link to Hannah. I filed a police report, adding animal cruelty to her crimes. Sergeant Holt took my statement, his face hard. We'll investigate, Caleb, but Diane's slippery. Stay sharp. I upgraded my security that night. Motion lights, more cameras. Rusty slept inside, his eyes mournful, missing his lake runs. I sat by the window, watching the water, glinting under the Texas moon. We'll keep it safe. Hannah, I whispered, my voice thick. The next day, Diane doubled down. A tour group, 20 investors, rolled up to her lot, her voice booming over a megaphone. The lake's access is secured, she lied, pointing at my water. Legal disputes are nearly resolved. The investors clapped, snapping photos, unaware of my fence or her $15,000 flop. Old man Tucker called me over, his voice low. Caleb, she's telling him, you'll settle for cash. Says she's got a lawyer who will break you. I smirked, despite the anger. She's got nothing, Tucker, but I'm ending this now. I spent the afternoon with Hank, building a counterattack. We compiled evidence. Diane's fake listings, her 911 lie, the antifreeze attempt, her criminal past, Louisiana fraud, 2019, Nevada forgery, 2020, Arkansas embezzlement, 2021. A trail of lies across 3 states. I posted it all in one thread. The truth about Diane Miller, aka Diane Carter. Screenshots of her lake posts. Security footage of her by Rusty's bowl. Police reports. Court records. I ended it. Simple. I'm a widower, protecting my wife's dream. Diane's a fraud who targets small towns. The post went viral. 1,000 shares in an hour. Neighbors chimed in. Ellie Ruiz. She tried to scam my aunt's land in Dallas. Tucker. 40 years here. Never seen such evil. The Abilene News. Picked it up. Serial fraudster. Targets Texas ranch. Diane's investors. Turned on her. Demanding refunds. Threatening lawsuits. Her website crashed under the backlash. By evening, Diane's lot was quiet. No tours. No megaphone. I checked my cameras and saw her pacing her yard. Phone pressed to her ear. Her face pale. She was cornered, and I knew what that meant. The next morning, police cruisers rolled into my driveway, lights flashing. Sergeant Holt stepped out with Officer Ruiz and Diane, her arm bandaged, her face made up to look frail. A nervous man trailed her. Someone new in town. Caleb, Holt said, his voice tired. Miss Miller claims you assaulted her yesterday by the fence. This witness backs her up. Diane sobbed, fake tears flowing. He pushed me. Officers. My arm sprained. Because of him. The man mumbled, eyes down. I saw it. Yeah. He shoved her. Rusty growled. Behind my screen door. I stayed calm, my voice even. Officers. I've got cameras. 8 of them. With audio. Want to see yesterday's footage? Diane's mask slipped. Just for a second. Holt nodded, pulling out a tablet. Show us. Caleb. Inside. I played the video. On timestamp. 4 hours, 15 p.m. Clear footage. Showed Diane alone. By the fence. No witness. No me. She scraped her arm. On a bolt. Wincing. Then walked away. Self-inflicted. Caught in 4K. The man's face went white. Holt turned to him. Voice like steel. Sir, false statements are a felony. Want to try again? He crumbled. Voice shaking. She paid me $2,000 to lie. I'm sorry. I needed the cash. Diane's face twisted with fury. You idiot, she hissed. Dropping the act, Holt cuffed her. Reading her rights. Diane Miller. You're under arrest for false reporting, witness tampering, and attempted animal cruelty. She glared at me as they led her away, her eyes burning. This isn't over. Caleb, I've got connections. You'll pay. But her voice was hollow. The cruiser drove off, leaving dust in the Texas air. The man gave a statement admitting Diane's bribe. She was released on bail that night, but her game was over. A week later, a for sale sign appeared at Diane's lot, priced at a loss. No buyers touched it. The fraud house, locals called it. Diane fled to parts unknown. But Hank heard. She was arrested in Oklahoma on old warrants. Fraud, forgery, embezzlement. To her past, to caught up fast. Rusty and I sat by the lake that evening, the water sparkling under the Texas sun. The fence stood strong. The cameras blinked. Hannah's dream, safe at last. Tucker and Ellie threw a barbecue. The whole ranch community, laughing, eating, free of Diane's shadow. You did good, Caleb, Tucker said, raising a beer. Hannah smiling. Somewhere. I nodded. The ache of her name, softened by peace. Rusty chased a butterfly, his bark echoing across the water. We kept our promise. Hannah, I whispered, the breeze carrying my words. Diane was gone, her lies buried under Texas dirt. The lake was ours, forever.